posture workshop. We are blessed today to have a visiting doctor who's here from New York. And you know me, I love visiting doctors. You guys have probably seen a few visiting doctors over the past couple months. We love to share. We love to get their input. We love to share our experiences with them. So I'm actually going to start off by welcoming Dr. Brett Kamenez and talking to him a little bit about posture and the value of workshops in his office. So.
Thank you, Dr. Suzi.
And you know, we were just talking inside about opening the workshop, and you mentioned to me one of the things that you like to open your workshops with is the welcome to the patients.
First off, welcome. It's truly an honor. It's an honor to be here and to share. And just like Dr. Suzi, I mean, we're always constantly just trying to do things better, to take care of you better, and that's why we connect and we interact and we learn what other doctors are doing. You all could have been somewhere else today. It's a beautiful day. One of my staff is actually at the beach. We shall remain nameless, but you know, taking time, investing, being here for just 30 minutes is a big deal. So I always like to kind of, you can all give yourself a little pat on the back. No, it's seriously. It would be very easy to be somewhere else or do something different, but to be here to learn how to do something different. The biggest adjustment you're ever going to have is not the one on your back or your spine, but it's actually the adjustment of your thinking, and this is where that happens. It can't happen anywhere else. So connecting, interacting, as Dr. Suzi said, it's really just the best thing, and it's really what lights us up as well. So I'm happy you're here. Is that okay?
That was great. Also, we put a lot of time into workshops, both of us in our offices, and like he said, one of the biggest things is not adjusting so much your spine, but your thinking. Why is that so important?
It's the hardest thing, I think. It's very easy, and I'm sure, again, everyone's very busy. We're a very kind of rush society. We have a lot of things to do. But to slow down, to do something different, to learn how to take better care of ourselves. And what's also nice is the information you're going to learn today, you can also help your friends, but especially your family, to, again, start to do things different. And there's so many things that little things we can do to help our bodies not just really feel better, but really function better as well. Awesome.
Hello.
Hello. And so I think it's hard, but it's so worth it. The investment in you is really what you're making today.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay. So posture, okay, and what we were alluding to too with Dr. Brett is you're here for your adjustments. How long does an adjustment take? 5 minutes. 5 minutes, right? So where are you the rest of the time, and what are you doing? Working. Exercising. You're in trouble. We're doing a lot of things when we're not here. Now, if we're doing them right, we're supporting the adjustments. If we're doing them wrong, we're creating more subluxations. So it's really important to evaluate everything that we do. Every little thing is going to lead us either more towards health or more towards sickness. It's going to go one way or another. And so if we're educated and we know what we're doing and we know how to pick apart these things and evaluate them, we're going to have a much better shot at supporting the adjustments and creating less subluxations. There's never going to be a time where you have no subluxations. Let's be realistic. We're living, we're breathing, we're moving around, we're stressing, we're doing all this stuff. But we want to minimize that and the effect that it's going to have on the body. And I can't tell you how many patients I have that I've seen in this office, well, not this office, but seen in my practice for about 15, 20 years, who when I re-x-ray them every year, I see not much has changed. They haven't gotten worse because of the adjustments. That saved their spines from more decay, more rot, more deterioration. But because they're not changing their lifestyle habits, they're not improving as much as they could. And that breaks my heart. That definitely breaks my heart. Dan, can you just shut off the blue box with the music because it's still on? So coming to these workshops and investing these 30 minutes is probably the most important part of your care, like Dr. Brett was saying. This is where it's going to make a difference. So when we talk about posture, it seems like, okay, posture, stand up straight. So easy, right? There's so much more to it than that. And we're going to go through it. Ready, Dane?
Yes.
Great. So why do we need good posture? Somebody tell me why good posture is important. And what is it? Why do we even look at posture?
Because that shows how your spine, that'll scoop your spine if you're slouched over all the time.
Absolutely. Did you learn that the hard way? So yeah, if we don't have good posture, That means that something underneath is misaligned. That is the easiest way to tell if you're subluxated. And for those of you who don't remember what a subluxation is, the bones are out of alignment. They're stuck out of alignment. They can't move. They're stuck in that position, and they're putting pressure on spinal nerves. Those nerves are carrying signals out to the body from the brain. So what do you think is happening to the organs that those signals are going to if you're subluxated?
They're not working as well.
They're not working as well. Let's get a little stronger with our words. They're not working as well sounds, okay, so I'm not as healthy as I could be. Oh well, it's more than that. People walk around for decades without getting the right signals from their brain to their body. Decades. What do you think's happening to those organs that are not getting the signals to or from the brain for decades?
Dying.
They're dying. What else? Give me another word. Decaying. Thank you. Another word. Deteriorating. These big words. Much stronger and leaves much more of an impact on you if you can picture rotting, decaying, deteriorating organs. You know, when people show up in the hospital for an emergency appendectomy, their appendix didn't go bad that day. It was sick, rotting, deteriorating, decaying for decades before they got to that point. But all of a sudden, the pain is so bad, it's got to be yanked out right then and there. What's the number 1 and 2 killers in the United States today?
Heart attack.
Beautiful. Heart disease is number 2. Number 1 is?
Cancer.
Cancer. Cancer. Your body is rotting and decaying and deteriorating in both those cases a long time before it's even detected. For a long time. Rotting, deteriorating, decaying. Okay? And our hearts, when that happens with our hearts, in 65% of the cases with heart disease, the first symptom you get is the heart attack that kills you. And people will say all the time, it happened just a few years ago. A pilot, an airline pilot, was flying over the Atlantic and had a heart attack mid-air. And you know what his wife said? He was healthy. I don't know what happened. He was perfectly healthy. Now, do you get a heart attack if you're perfectly healthy?
No.
Did it happen that day that he woke up and his heart decided to deteriorate and rot and decay that day?
No.
It's been going on for years. And that's what's going on in our bodies. And the easiest way to tell this, the easiest way to detect it is just to look at your posture. It's that simple. So that's what we're going to practice doing today with the help of Dana. There are so many different postures there, and you see it. I mean, you see it when you walk around. There are so many different things to look for. High shoulders, high hips, rotation, head tilt. All these things are indications that something's not right. Something's rotting and decaying in your body, right? I teach my kids when we go on vacation and we see people walking along on the beach or at the swimming pool with their bathing suits, I teach them to look at posture. I think it's one of the most valuable things I can teach my kids, to know when somebody's sick or healthy just by looking at the way they are or the way they walk. And my kids, you'll see them, it's unbelievable. They'll sit there and they'll be yelling out, high shoulder, low hip, rotation. They point out people, and you know, people think they're talking about them, and they are, but not because they're picking on them, but because, you know, if somebody hears this and comes up to us and asks us, what are you doing? We get to tell them. How great is that? And how far-reaching might that go? That could save somebody's life because their organs are rotting and decaying and deteriorating, right? So these are all different types of posture. Anything other than this, is your body perfectly healthy?
No.
Can't be. It's impossible. You are cutting off vital signals from the brain to the body. Okay. So, standing posture. Okay, standing posture should be easy, but do we or do we not see people walk around like this all day long with this forward head carriage? And they're rotting and deteriorating and decaying. And you know, I mean, I don't have to tell you this. People who walk around like this, are they healthy or do they have multiple organ failure issues going on in their body? Have you ever seen somebody walk like this that you say, how's it going? And they don't start giving you a list of, oh, this hurts and that, and I went to the doctor and my heart and my, right? Is that me or, you know, am I making this up?
No.
Absolutely not. So standing posture, let's look at what it should be. Does somebody want to come up here? Sonia, I know you want to come up here.
No.
I know you want to
Absolutely.
volunteer.
Sure. My posture.
Your posture. Janet, you're going to come up and you're going to evaluate her posture. When we're looking from front to back, and everybody's going to do it, but you're going to stand behind me and do it. Do you see that one of her shoulders is higher than the other? Okay, great. Do you see that maybe her head's tilted to one side rather than the other? Okay, what's going on with our hips there? Are they perfectly straight?
No, it looks forward, a little forward.
Anybody can do this. Anybody can do this. Now, we're gonna turn you to the side, okay? And I gotta tell you, for your guys, it doesn't really matter if you get that shoulder's higher, if it's not. All you need to get is that they're not even. If they're not even, something's going on. Now, when we look at somebody from the side, what you wanna see is what we call the plumb line that connects. These are the spots that should line up perfectly. Ear, above shoulder, above hip, above knee, above ankle. If I were to take a string and drop it there, that should be perfectly straight. So what do you see?
Her head's forward.
Her head's forward. You know all about forward heads, right? Her head's forward. Now, one of the things that causes us to have the major forward head, and I forgot to mention this the other night at the workshop, and afterwards, I was like, I can't believe I didn't mention this. One of the biggest things in our society today are these cell phones. We are like this constantly. Our kids are like this constantly. If you have anybody, a loved one, a friend, a child, that you see like this with the cell phones, and you don't walk by and slap them in the head, you're doing them an injustice. Cat's like, I can't do that. All right, a light tap on the head. Just like, aware, be aware. Stop with this stuff, okay? Because it's killing us. It's getting worse, not better. So, Xenia has a job where she is bent over tables, very similar to me, all day long. Is that going to affect her posture if she's not continually taking care of it? Okay, and again, we don't need to know, okay, exactly how far is it, what do we, you just need to know it's not lined up, okay? Let's follow it down. What do you see here?
Then that's forward, it's not over her hips, roughly.
Okay, go down a little bit to her knees.
And her hips then aren't over her,
It's not over her knees. That's all you need to know. Go down to her ankles.
And her ankles.
Okay, so again, it doesn't take a doctor to do this. It takes a posture buddy. It takes a mirror. That's all it takes. And if you're not checking your posture every day and being aware of it, how are you ever going to know and fix it? Right? Okay. You guys are great. Thank you. That was awesome. All right, so let's move on to the next side. That's standing posture. It's that easy. But we're using postures whether we're standing, whether we're sleeping, whether we're sitting. So we've got to cover all of it. When we're sleeping, it's like such a mystery to people. How do I know that I'm sleeping in a good posture? Well, first of all, the first rule is there's absolutely no sleeping in what position?
On your stomach.
On your stomach. No stomach sleeping. Why?
Pressure on organs.
What else? What's the biggest problem with sleeping on your stomach? Your head is turned. You have to turn your head. If you're sleeping on your stomach and you don't turn your head, you can't breathe, you're gonna die. So, either you're gonna kill yourself by suffocating or you're gonna kill yourself by subluxating. Suffocating or subluxating, those are the only two choices when you're lying on your stomach. So, stomach sleeping is the worst. Now, does anybody here stomach sleep? No. Awesome. You did not just raise your hand back there.
Two CAs.
All right, so what do we do if we do have a stomach sleeper? What do we do? One of the best things you can do if you see your kids, your spouses, your friends, whatever, whoever you're sleeping with, if you see them sleeping on their stomach, let's get a body pillow. That's the first step. Get one of those long body pillows to prop them up so they can't go all the way over to their stomach. So there is some protection there. It's not 100%, but it's certainly better than this posture if you're at this posture, right? So incrementally, there's shades of gray, not all black and white. So we can incrementally get someone off their stomach. The best posture to sleep in is either your side or your back. Now, if you're on your side, again, you want your spine in neutral. What does neutral mean? Just what we talked about before. Ear over shoulder over hips, right? How do we accomplish that? Well, one of the things that we can do is make sure we've got a good supportive pillow. See how this pillow conforms to that curve that's in your neck? Our water pillows do that. The Tempur-Pedic pillows do that. Any pillow that has that curve built in. So, you hear, oh, cervical pillows, what's the big deal? It is a big deal because that keeps your head and your neck neutral. There are different sizes because people come in different sizes. We've got smalls, medium, larges, and the water pillow is just one size. Why is that? Because some people will fill it with more water, some people will fill it with less water. So it's that easy, all right? That's what I love. I sleep with the water pillow. I love that. But if you have a pillow that's not supporting, you're screwing up your posture. So another great idea, aside from looking at your neck, is to look at your hips and make sure they're in great alignment. How do we do that? Put a pillow between your knees if you're a side sleeper. I'm actually a side sleeper, and what I've learned to do over the years, I toss and turn. How does that work? I swear to you, I can flip with a pillow between my knees, and that's what I do all night long. I flip with a pillow, and it works. But if you don't have that pillow between your knees, see how my legs are straight here? If you don't have that, this pulls over, right away it pulls on the lower back. So people with chronic lower back issues, one of the problems is they're sleeping on their side, twisting their spine all night. That's a lot of hours of our life if you think about it. And that's why this is one of the ones I'm going to first, because it is so critically important that you're not all night long while you're supposed to be building up your body, resting it, that you're not actually subluxating it and rotting and decaying organs. Another great idea is to put a pillow right here. Okay, so those body pillows, I love them because you can put one from here all the way up. So again, your shoulders aren't like that. You know, people have a great pillow, they've got a pillow between their knees, but then they're still turning over with their shoulders, or they're doing one of these. You can't do that. It doesn't work. Okay, so little details that take time to implement, but they're so important. So what if you're a back sleeper? Again, the same concept with the pillow. It supports the curve in your neck so that your neck stays neutral. But in addition to that, you might want to put a pillow under your knees, again, just to relax the lower back. Right? So anytime you jump in with anything, you can. We appreciate your opinion.
Good stuff. Perfect.
Okay. All right. How about driving? Does anybody here drive?
Yes.
So we can actually spend our time in the car as an exercise to make ourselves healthier, or we can be screwing up our spines. This is one of the things I learned from experience. I was wondering why I was getting some lower back discomfort, and it finally dawned on me, all my driving life, I was just shifting to the side a little bit in the seat, just that much. So anytime I'm in a car, I was subluxating. Who knew, right? So one of the most important things, and the easiest things to correct in a car, is making sure you have a good lumbar support. The lumbar supports are the things on the chair behind you. They're great for your desks, they're great for your car seats, they're great for any chair that you're spending a long time in the house sitting in. One of the most important things about those car seats, or the lumbar cushions we call them, is that I want you to look at my posture. If we don't have the curve here, if we don't have the support here, then we round out. When we round out, what happens to our posture with our head? It goes forward. It goes forward. It goes forward. I can't spend enough time talking about how important that neck curve is, not to be anything but that nice forward curve. Why is that so important? Does anybody know what travels through there? Brainstem. It's hitting the bottom, right at the top of your spine where you have the most pressure. If you have that forward head carriage, you're hitting your brainstem. Now, studies have shown, these aren't chiropractic, these are medical studies, that when you have pressure on your brainstem, you can experience things like ADD, depression, anxiety, headaches, all from pressure in the brainstem. As a matter of fact, if that curve isn't going in the right direction, science has now proven that you will take up to 15 years off of your life. Now, if you don't believe me, think of Christopher Reeve. Remember Superman? Impact to the neck. What happened to him?
Paralyzed.
Paralyzed, and every organ system in his body started shutting down. He actually needed someone to sit there and massage his intestines to get the food through. Okay? That's how critical an impact to the neck is. Now, he took a hard hit to the neck. You're not doing that. But if you don't have that curve in your neck, and that curve is not supported, then you are constantly putting pressure on your neck day in and day out, and over time it becomes like that huge impact. Micro trauma as compared to macro trauma. That continued pressure over a long period of time is every bit as devastating as that one hard impact. So people are walking around all the time with their organ systems shutting down, and again, scientists are like, all right, how does this affect the body? You'll take up to 15 years off your life because that's how inefficiently your body's working when you have that much pressure. So again, these cushions, not only do they support the lower back, well, I don't have a lower back problem, but look what happens to the head. From this position to this position. What happened to my head?
Great.
Okay? So it's very important when you're driving to have that. One of the tricks I also use when I'm driving is I put my rear view mirror just a little bit higher than I need it. Why would I do that?
your head back.
So I'm constantly sitting up. I'm constantly forcing myself, instead of this, to sit like this so I can see through it. It's my reminder. Okay? Another great thing about driving postures is when you're sitting in the car and you're driving, you get to a red light and you're cursing everyone or everything out, or the traffic, same situation. Use it to push your head right back into the headrest. Take your frustrations out there, like that, because that's going to help bring your head back. It's a great exercise. Okay? You can use this time very productively to help you get healthier rather than aggravating, stressing, and getting sicker and subluxating. Right? So, driving posture. Okay, now, computer station. This one has everything wrong in it for a reason, but one of the things I like to point out is, you notice how he's got 2 cans of Coke? Not one can of poison, but 2. When you're sitting and your attention's on something else, you should not be eating, ever. Why? You're not even listening to your body's signals of being full or satiated. So please don't sit in front of a computer or TV and eat. That's a really good one. Now, when you set up your computer station, go to the next slide, Dave. Show us how it's supposed to be, because like I said, everything's wrong. And even in this one, what we just discussed with those pillows, those lumbar pillows, she should have one, no? Can everybody see that now? Like you guys are like picking it up like that. But notice how what we're aiming for is 90-degree angles. Here should be 90 degrees. Here should be 90 degrees. She was tiny here. She's not tiny anymore if anybody's seen her. But we propped her feet up on a stool so she can maintain that 90 degrees. You may have to use props like that. Some people sit on phone books. Whatever it is that you have to do to make sure this is 90 and this is 90 is going to help you. Your monitor needs to be positioned in front of you, the top of it just a few inches above eye level. That will keep you up rather than down. See the difference? Okay? So again, we're protecting that curve in our neck, protecting our brainstem, and in turn protecting every organ system in our body. So 90 degrees. Hands and arms should also be at 90 degrees. Hers is she's a little too far back, but this posture is where our typewriters and our mouses should be. Should be mice or mouses, I don't know. But that's the important posture for that. So people who are developing carpal tunnels and things like that, most of the time they're just not set up right. Another thing I will tell you about your workstations is please always switch around where you keep your pens and pencils, where you keep your phone. Switch sides of the desk where you keep your files. So you're not continually, for years and years, going to the same side all the time. Switch it up every few months. 3 to 6 months is the maximum you should ever keep anything at your workstation in the same spot. Okay? All right, other posture killers, backpacks. Backpacks, and you know, they tell us the kids should not carry all these books and all that. Come on, our kids are lazy. They should be able to carry that with no problem if they're doing it correctly. The problem is we're not doing it correctly. The problem is we're so worried about protecting them that we give them these rolling things where we're twisting our bodies like this, and from a young age with our kids we're developing subluxations, aside from the fact that they're knocking over other kids in the hallway when they're not paying attention to what they're pulling. I hate those. We can support heavy loads on our back if done correctly. Done correctly means nice thick straps, not over one shoulder but over both. Books should always be put, the heavier things should be put closest to the back in those backpacks. And as we go out, we can get to the lighter things. Keep the straps nice and tight. Some of them come with that waist belt also. Very important to do this because otherwise, again, we're teaching our kids poor habits. They're going to school, and I hate it when we say don't carry books because they need that exercise. They're so underdeveloped these days, and that in itself is an issue. So yes, carry the books, just do it correctly. Anything that we're doing, like assembly line work, shoveling, sweeping, anything like that, you gotta switch sides. Raking, that's gonna come up next, raking, remember raking? But if you're constantly doing it on one side and you're not switching to the other side, you're creating subluxations. What else? Go back 1 second, I just wanna make sure I didn't miss it. Pocketbooks, oh my God, please ladies. Keep them as light as possible, as light as, you really don't need to carry that much for the day, I promise you. Your makeup is fine, but make sure you're switching sides constantly with the pocketbooks. And same thing with carrying babies on your hips. We're so used to this on one side all the time, all day long. Switch it up, okay? The TV in your bedroom, the way you place it, switch it up. Don't have it off to the corner so you're lying in bed like this all night, because guess what's gonna happen? Yeah, who thinks of these things, right? I do. All day long, like, it's a subluxation causer. So we talked about phones, phones, headsets, you know, this stuff, cell phones, we talked about bad posture, smack somebody in the head, I promise you, you're doing them a favor, Kath, you can do it.
Okay.
And then you report back to me next week, who'd you smack in the head? All right, now you can go on. So, these are the things that are important. Daily checks, looking in the mirror. If you come up with something, you say, hey, listen, no matter what I do, my shoulder's always higher on one side. Talk to me. Talk to me, let's see what we can do. And don't forget that when I see you, you've already had this built in for decades. So I don't want to make sure that in 2 weeks you go from this to this. I want to make sure over the years you're going from this to this. Because if you've been walking around for 30 years like this, it's going to take me more than 6 months to correct it. The body cannot heal that quickly. You have to be realistic. But we can continually, over time, improve. How long have you been getting adjusted?
20-something years.
That's all? Just 20-something years? You're almost there. Check the length of pants and sleeves. That'll always give you an indication if you're subluxated, and always a sign of posture buddy. Take the information you're getting here today, share it with your friends, your loved ones, your coworkers, so that they can be a part of it and check their posture and explain to them. You have a high shoulder. You have sick, rotting, decaying, deteriorating organs. You have to. Those signals aren't getting out. Whether you feel it or not, and you're not going to feel it until at least 60% of a nerve is shut off, whether you're feeling it or not, your body is not working at 100%. You're dying rather than living. Okay? So, obstacles to good posture. One of the things that makes me crazy is when moms yell at their kids all the time, stop cracking your neck, sit up straight. You hear that all the time. They're doing it because they're subluxated. Please stop yelling at them and get them checked. Ignorance, we just don't know about it. And congenital anomalies or deformities. That's where we're born with some kind of maybe a wedge vertebra, meaning only half the vertebra's there. So that person will never have perfect posture. It's not possible. But would it benefit them to get adjusted and checked or no? What do you guys think?
I think so.
Why not?
Definitely.
Shouldn't they be better? Could they be better? They may never be perfect, but don't we want them as close to that as possible? You're never going to be straight. It's not going to happen. But don't we want to get you as close to that as possible and keep your body functioning at its maximum level?
Yes.
That's the goal. Okay. So who can you think of that has poor posture? I bet you guys are sitting here saying, oh my God, this person that I know, I got to tell them. I got to tell them. Kathy's going, who can I smack in the head? Right? I want you to do it. I want you to think of these people. I want you to come up with a name. I'm not going to ask you for the name. I'm not going to go hound the person. But think of them and think about what you can possibly be saving them from. What are you risking by not telling these people? Your mom's been coming to me for years. You're almost, do you mind my sharing your story? Almost going for surgery because she's got such bad jaw issues. I've adjusted her 4 times and there's marked improvement, but she almost went to cut open her face because nobody told her her head was that forward. And when I saw her, I went, oh my God, if her mother didn't say anything, she would be under the knife for her jaw. Or where she at, never enjoy a steak again, right? I mean, what are you risking by not opening your mouth and saying something to those people around you? That's what I want you to think of. Think about what you're going to do about it. We have several tools to get people checked in our office. We can give you gift cards or gift referrals for them. We can invite them, please invite them to workshops. I beg of you, bring people to these workshops. Everybody deserves to have this information, not just you blessed few. You know, share it, bring them. And we can always, if anybody ever has a question, I am more than happy to call people. I'm more than happy to pick up the phone. It's the little things in life that make the hugest difference. Okay? All right, everybody. Thank you for coming. I hope you enjoyed.
Yes.
Thank you.